All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're not just looking at ideas, we're actually building a blueprint. We're going to take a whole bunch of complex sources and boil them down into one clear, actionable system. So what in the world connects a high achiever's burnout, an AI that can think for itself, and an ancient African philosophy? I know, it sounds like the setup to a really strange joke, right? But stick with me, because today we're going to connect all these dots and reveal a single, really powerful blueprint for a whole new way of working and living. Okay, so where do we start? We start with a problem I think a lot of you will recognize, the psychological crisis that often comes with being a successful professional. The sources we're looking at have this term for it, the masked high achiever. You know this person. They look brilliant and totally reliable on the outside, but on the inside, they're just collapsing under what's called the invisible weight of their success. It's like their entire self-worth is being rented, and the rent is due with every new achievement. And this is what leads to something called the success paradox. It's this absolutely vicious cycle where your own excellence starts to eat you alive. Your being gets consumed just to fuel your doing. And the crazy part is, every time you win, you don't feel relief. You just feel the pressure mount. The stakes just get higher and higher. And I really love this quote, because what it does is it completely reframes the problem. It stops being about a psychological issue and becomes an engineering failure. Think about that. It's not a personal failing, it's a structural one. The system you built for your life, your career, it just wasn't designed to carry that much weight. It's experiencing material fatigue. So if the problem is structural, well, the solution has to be structural too. How do you rebuild? This isn't about positive affirmations or self-help mantras. No, this is about engineering. It starts with building a solid foundation by mastering your craft. You see, to get out of that burnout cycle, you've got to have a stable foundation to stand on. And one of our sources, the Academic Writing Survival Kit, makes this fantastic point. That foundation is built through pure craft. Being a strong, clear thinker isn't some magical talent you're born with. It's a skill. It's a series of repeatable, engineered moves that you learn, which create this solid structure for your ideas. And that leads to this idea of writing, or really any intellectual work, as infrastructure. It's not just a sequence of sentences or ideas, it's a load-bearing structure. It's the architecture holding everything up. And when you build that architecture well, man, it can support an incredible amount of weight. Okay, so we've got our foundation. It's solid, it's built on craft. Now let's add the engine. And this isn't just any engine. We're talking about a massive force multiplier, agentic AI. Right now, the world is kind of splitting in two when it comes to AI. On one side, you have the prompter. This person is stuck doing the manual labor of thought, constantly babysitting chatbots, getting exhausted by AI fatigue. But on the other side, you have the architect. The architect isn't just using AI, they're designing autonomous systems that work for them. They're not just swinging the hammer, they're designing the whole factory. And this analogy just nails it, doesn't it? Are you using AI like a simple tool where you're the one swinging the hammer and getting tired? Or are you deploying it like an autonomous digital employee, where you provide the blueprints and your AI crew manages all the heavy lifting? So how do you actually build this digital employee? Well, the sources lay out this awesome blueprint called the triple-layer engine. Let's break it down. First, you need the orchestration brain. Think of this as the CEO. It plans and delegates tasks. Then you need contextual memory, which is like the AI's long-term memory. It uses something called vector databases to learn and recall info, so it's not starting from scratch every time. And finally, you give it tooling hands. These are the real-world tools it can use, like a web browser or a data interpreter. Put it all together, and you've got a complete system for autonomous work. Okay, so you've engineered your intellectual craft. You've built this incredibly powerful AI engine. But an engine with no steering wheel is just dangerous, right? It's just horsepower with no direction. So that brings us to the most important question. What is all this for? What's the philosophy that's going to guide this whole system? Well, the answer comes from an ancient philosophy that gives us a surprisingly modern way to operate. And that philosophy is Ubuntu. Now, the sources are really clear on this. This isn't some soft, fuzzy cultural value. They frame it as a hard, strategic asset. It's a robust social infrastructure. It's a logic system that basically says your true strength, your real identity, it comes from your connection to others, from the network, not from you as some isolated individual. And in this worldview, it's the network, not the lone wolf individual. That's the real unit of survival and success. And you can see how this is the perfect antidote to that lonely, high-pressure existence of the masked high achiever we talked about at the beginning. But here's the kicker. This isn't just abstract philosophy. It's about translating these ancient ideas into modern operational protocols. I mean, look at this cable. You take an indigenous concept like Baraza, which is about building consensus, and you can actually support it with real-time AI sentiment analysis. Or you take Ujamaa, which is about community and shared resources, and you can apply something like blockchain for transparent auditing. What you end up with is this new model, the hybrid leader, someone who can blend ancient wisdom with cutting-edge tech. All right, it's time to connect all the dots. We've looked at the individual's psychological struggle. We've looked at the importance of intellectual craft. We've added a powerful AI engine, and we've given it a guiding philosophy. So now let's put it all together and see the blueprint they form. Here it is. These 4 pillars come together to create one unified system, the sovereign operating system. You see how it all connects? You start by healing your psychological foundation. You build on that with rigorous, engineered craft. You multiply your abilities with an AI engine, and you steer the entire thing with a philosophy based on purpose and connection. It's the whole package. And the person who operates the system, the sources call them the augmented scholar. And listen, this isn't some character from a sci-fi movie. This is a new type of professional, a new type of leader who literally architects their own systems for thinking, for creating, and for generating value in the world. And this isn't just a thought experiment. This whole system is designed to have a real-world impact. Think about it. When you combine deep, rigorous research, that's the craft, with automated analysis from your AI engine, and you guide it all with a community-focused goal, well, that's how you generate real, practical blueprints. We're talking about things like creating comprehensive plans for sustainable agribusiness or building totally transparent models for humanitarian aid. This is where all that theory hits the ground and becomes practice. When you boil it all down, this is really about one thing: ownership. It's about owning the very systems that produce your knowledge, your wealth, and ultimately your future. Instead of just being a cog in someone else's machine, you become the architect of your very own engine for thinking. So there you have it, this synthesis of psychology, craft, technology, and philosophy. It gives us a roadmap. It's a path from burnout to sovereignty. It's a way to stop just performing excellence and to start actually engineering it. We've laid out the blueprint. The only question left is, what are you going to build?